Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Tim. We've come to the day that we come to the sweet ending, I guess you'd say that. This is the last day, so we're just kind of packing things up. We had a whole bunch of friends over 2 days ago, and they picked up the last run of the season, and they picked up the pails and spiles and carried them all in for us. So last night we had I think we had 10 pails left on the side, and I used those up to what was in those 10 pails amounted to, I guess most of them were full. So there was 20 gallons there that we used to kind of push through the last of any kind of concentrate that we had in our evaporator. So all the pails are picked up. We hauled home the RO last night because it got pretty cold. It was 10 this morning. And turn you around here. Got the tractor sitting there resting. We got to put that away. We got to take it home and clean it up and wash it and wax it, get it looking a little bit nicer for the garden season, which is right around the corner after the 4-foot snowbanks are gone. We got to get that cleaned up. We have all the buckets, all the metal buckets and plastic buckets are here. Every one of them has a spile inside of them to clean up. These are all going to get washed. It's pretty crunchy today. There's one of the pans, one of the syrup pans there in the tank. That's going to get washed. There's some RO water yet that we're going to save. And we have to clean out the bulk tank. And here's the pump. Brought that in last night to make sure it didn't freeze. The evaporator's sitting here. It's kind of quiet in here, and as you can see, we used up every single bit of the wood on that side, which was piled up right up to the saw right there. And pretty much all of it on this side, which is a good thing. So we got that to do. We're gonna take off the covers here. We're going to drain. We've got some near syrup here that's going to go down to a neighbor. We've got, usually this amounts to about 4 gallons. Take it down to Brad's place. He said he would use that. We have all our pails are empty of syrup, and Jody was canning yesterday. So this is I think they call that a 4-gallon shotgun can for milk. And that's got 3 gallons in it. It's 2/3 full, roughly, maybe 3/4. That one's empty. Here's the last sticky stock pot that was here. So we're going to take that home, and the filter is going to go home. So we can use that, and we'll finish up that shotgun can, or that 3 gallons that's there. She was going to do that at home. And the stove is cold this morning. Nobody started a fire for me. Everything's looking kind of bare around here. The only thing left is 3 skinny pieces of pickle. I think we went through like 12 jars of pickles, of dill pickle. Everybody, that's kind of a goes with a little cup of maple syrup, and a dill pickle always tastes good. So everything is empty. We're gonna dump out the evaporator. That's got, what's that got in it here? We flooded it last night, so it's up on 2. So it's half full. There's probably 20-30 gallons of sap in there. So that'll go into a pail, and that just goes outside, back to the woods. So we'll get everything cleaned up here, put it away for winter, get all the ashes cleaned out of the stoves. I guess I cleaned that out last night pretty good. I took all the coals out and threw them out. But all the ashes get cleaned out of the bottom, down in here. There's a little bit of ash in there. That gets cleaned out, and we vacuum out the stove, so all the ash is out, going way to the back, up in there. And it gets covered. We put a cover over this, even though we don't use it. And then we we pull our stack. We take the top 2 sections off so it's below the roof line. And then we lift this up and set a 2x4 or a piece of wood underneath each side of this so that the stack itself doesn't come in contact with this base plate here. So this stays pretty decent. I know some guys say theirs gets rusty, but that way we eliminate any water that'll come down. We've got it covered up above, and we got it lifted off from this. So it kind of works, I think. And we cover the stovepipe on the little stove. We just put a bucket up on top and put a brick on it to hold it down. Clean everything out of here that mice like to get into. And close up the cupola. You see it's a little bit opened up on top up there. There's a couple of cracks of light, so we pull our cables and pull the doors shut. And then we're kind of set. Clean things up and head home. Start on the next project. This year was pretty light, although we did quit early. It's going to run some more next week. But we've got plenty, way more than we made last year, and we're all having fun. So we're gonna kind of slow down while we're having fun. I suppose it takes a full day of washing buckets and stacking buckets in the shop, and then we flip them around to let them dry. So dump it out of the bucket, let it dry, then tip it another turn. The plastic ones have that rim around the top. So we get that dried out before we put them away for the season. And they all get stacked in another room in the shed at home in the shop that's kind of airtight a little bit. We get those put away in the spiles and the lids, all the miscellaneous little hoses and tubes and whatever else we use, get it all rinsed off good, and call it a year. Oh yeah, we got to take home the recliners. They go home, get put up on a shelf so that the mice don't get them. And I guess that's kind of going to be the end. Here's a picture. We finally got it hung up. And this gentleman's name was Guy Whiff. So he's my great uncle, was my great uncle. He's the one that started this. He's all in his Sunday clothes there. He never had to have much for clothes. He was quite a guy. He was a hard worker, and he was short in stature. He probably was only 5'4" or 5", something like that. He wasn't tall, but he loved to make his maple syrup. So we kind of have a picture of him in memory of him and how some of this kind of got going. And there's the next old guy. Hopefully there'll be another picture above that someday of the next generation of sappers. So that's it for today. Hope you've enjoyed our season. These videos they'll kind of get out in time as Lindsay gets them done. And I hope you've enjoyed it, like I said, and stay tuned for what's coming after we get rid of some of this snow. Thanks again. Bye.